We love hearing from y'all. So give us a call at 844-52-SHERI. Or if you already have the free app, you can get it for free at Google Play and the Apple Store. And you look at the screen, there's a little microphone in the bottom center, little old fashioned microphone. Tap it and talk, and the app will do the rest.
Hey, Bob and Sheri team. I'm Sarah from Laurinburg, North Carolina, and I just wanted to share with you that last weekend I had participated in a 24-hour ultra marathon, and I made sure that I fasted your show the week prior to make sure I had enough to somewhat last me through the race. So I just wanted to thank you for keeping me company and keeping me somewhat sane. I don't know how crazy I looked when people were passing me on the trail and I just started laughing to myself. But anyway, I just wanted to thank you for all that y'all do. I've listened to you for a very long time, and I've basically grown up with you. So I just love your show. Have a good day.
That is so interesting what she
so-
just said, that people were laughing because laughing or thinking she's strange. But when you think about it, if you didn't notice the earbuds or whatever she was listening with, if someone is just walking along laughing, you think they're crazy.
You guys, that's 50 miles, an ultra marathon.
Yeah, that's
That's-
I
amazing.
want to thank Sarah. I want to thank Sarah for listening, because that's as close as I'm ever going to get to running one of them things. Just having somebody listen to me.
And can I tell you, only somebody with this much self-discipline would say, I didn't listen to your show for a week. I fasted the show for a week.
That's true.
I'm I'm so blown away by this. 50 to run. Think about this. To run 50 miles. Do you understand that if I left my house right now and ran 50 miles, I'd be within 10 miles of Karamia's school? That's how far away that is.
Mhm.
50 freaking miles.
Yeah,
You know
that's
how
a real
people
Spartan.
always people always act like when they hear there are people when they hear something like that, they go, well, I could do that if I trained. I could not do that under any circumstances unless I was riding in a car.
The
And I still
really
have to stop
interesting
halfway
words
there in
there.
the car.
The interesting words are "if I trained," because it's a big jump from being on the Barca Lounger and committing to training.
Yeah.
Training is something that is
I'd do
not
that.
easy.
To
I
do
could do
that,
that.
you've run hundreds of miles
Yeah.
training over months, is what that means.
And you've disciplined your body and your mind, right? It
Right,
it
both.
makes me crazy and you see this a
Mhm.
lot in like sports. So anytime there's some big sporty game event, my Twitter is blown up with whatever it is. It's an NFL game or it's a tennis match, whatever. And there are always these jabronis in the comments that are saying stuff like, "Yeah, Kelsey's good, but I mean, anybody could be that good if they did X, Y, and Z." And I'm like, really? Really? How did you type that for all the Pringles dust on your fingers, James? Like, what are you talking about? Like, give people their due, Give them their due.
People just blow me away when they take a look at somebody who's accomplished something great and then denigrate it. My father went to a Yankees game once. He was telling me years and years later. He went to a Yankees game and Mickey Mantle was playing in his last couple of years. And evidently they had some sort of folding chairs out in the bleachers area. And Mantle is out there and, playing center field. And this guy got up, took the folding chair, and threw it at Mickey Mantle. Now, I don't know if Mantle went 0 for 4 or whatever it was, or the guy was just ticked off that Mantle is such a hero and was making so much money. But he threw the chair at Mickey Mantle. And I'm just saying, outside of playing high school ball, maybe for a couple of years, what have you done? That's one of the greatest athletes in America of all time. And you're throwing a chair at him?
What does it say about you that you can't like recognize and celebrate greatness in someone? Like, are
Yeah,
you that
yeah,
insecure?
right.
Are you
Yeah.
that small and threatened? Like, Please.
Bob and Sheri books, swag, and the mother of all mothers merch. Just hit shop at bobandsheri.com.
I had a really fun experience last night on the phone. My oldest daughter, Olivia, and her friend Emily, for their fall break, took a little road trip. So they headed up to Philly and went to the Mutter Museum, which is a museum of medical oddities, very on brand for a member of my family. And they stayed with my brother Mark and his wife. And then they headed to Brooklyn, where Emily's grandmother lives. And they had like 3 days and nights in Brooklyn and New York City, and they were just living their best life. They went to all these
That's
cool
great.
thrift stores, and they had like a real New York experience. They had perfect weather. Everything was great. So I go to bed relatively early last night. It was about 9:30, and I'm just about to fall asleep, and my phone's ringing, and that's never a good thing, right? And I snatch my phone off the bedside table, and it's Olivia, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" So, hey, sweetie, what's up? Is everything okay? And she's like, well, we have a question. And here's the question. And this was such a great moment for me as a mom because, like, I miss having little kids. I miss it so much. And you always feel like they don't need me anymore. I'm a husk. Let the Lord take me, or at least that's just me. Okay. So I say, okay, yeah, sure. What's up? She goes, well, we're parked a block away from Grandma Sylvia's house. And there are no signs here about parking. But Emily's uncle said that we have to move the car or we're going to get towed. But we can't find any signs. And I said, well, but you know how it is, like in a lot of cities. Like, remember we got a ticket when we were visiting Drew and Aaron in Montreal, and the whole street cleaning thing. And they were like, we've walked around multiple blocks. Some streets have those signs. This one doesn't. So should we park here? What will happen if we're not allowed to park here? Will the car get towed? And I was like, well, there's no signs. I think they don't tow you the first pass. I think you get a ticket. So Olivia goes, well, what should I do? And I said, honestly, it's late. I mean, it's late for me, right? It's
Come
late.
home.
It's dark.
Come home.
It's late. It's late. It's dark. How bad can the parking ticket be if you even get one? There are no signs saying that you can't park there. So why don't you just leave the car and take your chances? Olivia goes, oh, I told Emily that you would know what to do. And I'm like, okay, I've never been on this particular street in Brooklyn. I have no idea what the parking rules and regulations are. I'm so flattered, right? So I said, well, I was joking. I said, why don't you call 311? She goes, oh, that's a good idea. I'll call you back. So she hangs up. She calls 311. And whoever answers is the most salty, hard-bitten, seen it all, done it all, 311 dispatcher in all of New York City. So 311, how can I direct your call? So Olivia goes, hi, we're visiting my friend's grandmother in Brooklyn, and we parked the car on, I forget the name of the street, and there aren't any signs saying that we shouldn't park here, but her uncle said we should move the car or it'll get towed. Now, there are other streets that do say that you can't park, but this one doesn't say you can't park, so what should we do? And Olivia said there was like a pause, and the woman said, you're going to have to follow your heart.
No. That's the first time that's ever been said in Brooklyn.
You're going to have to follow your heart.
Wow.
And my daughter was like, I'm sorry, what? You're going to have to use your judgment. You're going to have to follow your heart and use your judgment. You park, you don't park. You're going to have to just let it ride. And Olivia goes, so those are the rules. And the woman said, there's no signs. I don't know what the rules are. You got to trust your gut on this one, honey. Got off the phone.
What did she do and what happened?
So she called me back and I said, how did it go with 311? Which, by the way, I couldn't believe they called 311 and could not believe somebody answered at 9:30 at night to discuss whether or not they could park their car. So I said, what happened? And Livy goes, the lady who answered told us to follow her heart. I fell out of the bed.
And so I'm going to be a Broadway star.
So she said, what do you think? And I said, I think that you just talked to a city employee who doesn't give a damn where you park that car. Live your life, follow your heart, trust your instincts, live your dream.
Yeah.
I said,
Flip a
make
coin.
sure it's locked. Yeah. I said, make sure it's locked. go back to Grandma Sylvia's house and let me know what happens in the morning. Now, it's a little early for an update, so I don't yet know about Brooklyn Parking Gate, but I'm very hopeful that the car is still there and that they didn't get a ticket.
As Frank said, if you can park it there, you can park it anywhere.
Park